guys, this is Kirsten with Sleeping on the Job podcast, and I'm really excited today for the first time in like 2 years. I actually have a relative on, my cousin, my second cousin, Sarah, who knows all things small business related or how to make your small business succeed, right? Sarah, why don't
Yeah.
you introduce yourself, say hi, and then kind of say what your business is?
I might end up being the only family member that's ever on this.
Oh, Mimi would kill to be on this. She listens to every episode.
Hi, Catherine. So yes, I started consulting practice 11 years ago, and most of my work is with small business owners and helping them set up teams, systems, and the like so that they can be successful. I've learned a few things about sales and marketing along the way, but that's not my main focus. And it's really about putting systems in place and getting yourself more visible so that you will make more sales.
Yeah, so people can find you. So I turned to you, and it's funny because okay, so we're talking about Clubhouse, just FYI. So not you, FYI, you know why you're here, but everyone else. So when actually, the first time I ever heard about it was you had posted, hey, who all is in Clubhouse? And this is like a couple months ago. And I was like, oh God, another thing I need to know about. I can't know about Snapchat. I can't know about TikTok. Once I accidentally go into TikTok, I have to call my daughter in to help me get out of TikTok. Like, I don't know, I'm swiping up, swiping left and right, and I can't like get out of TikTok. So I'm like, fuck, I just can't. My brain, I look at TikTok, my brain automatically just goes, no. Clubhouse, however, seems a little bit similar to having a podcast. So I was like, oh, okay, I can talk about stuff. That's fine. But I know nothing. I know nothing about it. And same thing, I logged on and I'm swiping all left and right and I could not figure out anything. So that's why I went to you and I was just like, okay, Sarah, you need to like literally talk to me like I'm 5 and explain Clubhouse to me. So I thought if I needed it broken down, like to talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old, I figured maybe other people would need it broken down that way. Um, and now that I've had it, like you said, I've had it for maybe 2 weeks now. And now it's like, okay, this makes a little bit more sense. Like one little tidbit, and maybe you can agree or let me know if I did the right thing or wrong thing, but one thing I picked up from someone else, they said, shut off trending rooms. Just because they're trending doesn't mean they're trending for me, you know?
Right.
So I shut off trending rooms. So now I kind of see more things just that I'm interested in, regardless if they're trending or not, which is more up my alley.
Right, exactly. And that's the biggest issue I see with new users of Clubhouse is just getting overwhelmed by the types of rooms, number of people in some of these rooms. So uh, when you first join, it's really important to be intentional
Well, when you first get
about.
invited, let's talk about that. First of all, you don't just join.
Oh, right. Yes. So you have to be invited. Well, first of all, you have to have for now they haven't released their Android version of the app, and it's not
Exclusive.
because they're discriminating against people with Android. It's much harder to release an app on Android because there's so many different phone formats between all the different phone makers. Whereas to release on iPhone and iPad, it's very simple because you only have to do one format.
But it's coming soon, correct? If I'm
Yeah,
understanding
I
correctly.
think it'll come out soon for Android. For now, it's just iPhone and iPad, iOS, and you need an invitation in order to join. So you can go into the App Store and request your username now, and then try to get someone that you know to send you an invitation, and that
Okay,
will at
so
least reserve your username.
oh, okay. I did not know that. Because I set up my whole account with a invite. So you know what I mean, I don't know how to do it any other way. So
Right.
that's good,
Yes.
good to know. But at
And
some point,
also in the App Store, just be careful because if you're an Android user, you're going to go into the App Store, you're going to look for an app called Clubhouse, and there's a fake one on there, or it's not what this is. This one is a black and white app, and it has a picture of a person. And they change
Like a
out who
headshot.
the person is every couple months, so I'm not going to describe what the person looks like, but it's a picture of a person who looks, I don't know, creative, and it's a black and white photo.
Okay, good to know. And I have 5 invites to give away now, um, which I will be giving away throughout this podcast. And I will tell you little, I will give breadcrumbs as to how to get me your information um, for the giveaway. So I just want to remember to do that. So, okay, so invite only. So I initially, when I joined, it gives you 2 free invites. And I was like, oh, and it's funny because I reached out to my 2 photographer, besties. And I said, hey, I got these 2 invites. Do you guys want them? And they're both like, nah. So I'm like, okay. So then I went to my Sleeping on the Job podcast Facebook page and I said, okay, I'm giving away my 2 invites. And then like the next day they're like, wait, we do want them. And I was like, well, I already made this post, but they ended up getting invited by someone else. But then I hosted a little chat room or whatever you call it, a room, whatever, yesterday, and then I got 3 more invites. So that was kind of exciting. So now I'll give away
Exactly.
all of them.
So they give you more invites when you first join. They give you 1 or 2, and then they give you more invites to give out once you've had some activity in the app. So you've gone into rooms, or you've hosted your own room. Hosting your own room is the one that tends to give you more invites right away.
Okay. So let's back up. Now we know how to ask for invites. Like I see people because I asked a friend of mine, one of my photographer friends that was on and pretty active like from the start on Clubhouse, and I was like, I got these 2 invites. I'm not really sure who to give them to. And she's like, people are selling them. Like
Yeah.
people are crazy to get invites. I would never do that as much as I do need March's mortgage. um, I'm not comfortable doing that, but I would like to give them away, to people that listen to my podcast because you support me, I support you. I'm a huge, you know, I believe in that and supporting each other. So we'll hold off on that. So okay, now that we know how to join, let's back up a little bit. So and I'm actually, you know what? I'm going to get my phone in front of me so I can kind of like follow along with you. And actually, y'all can do this too. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the app. And first, you're going to talk about hallways.
Yes. So when you first join, you set up your user profile, put your picture in, same as you would do for any other social media, and I think it asks you a few questions. Then you're in, and you can look in the hallway, and the hallway is, if you're old like Kirsten and I,
Hey,
you'll you'll remember a thing called AOL chat rooms, which was text only, but it was basically like you could scroll through a list of chat rooms, and you could go into individual rooms and chat about all kinds of subjects.
yeah.
You remember that, Kirsten?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I
Yeah.
do.
So this is sort of the same concept, except for it's audio only. There's no text. There's no writing anything. It's all audio.
So I
So
like how you described it to me because, like I said, you had to dumb it down to like a 5-year-old level. And so I like how you described it. Like, imagine a college hallway with all different majors down in the rooms. You
yes,
know what I mean? There's
yes,
psychology, there's photography, there's, you know, this, that, and the other thing. So you're kind of, if you don't know what interests you, you walk down the hallway and look at the
the
name on the
signs,
doors,
right?
so to speak,
The titles, the
the
signs,
titles.
and then you go and hang out in a room with people that have similar interests.
Right.
So it's just a virtual hallway like you would see in a college building, and you go into the different rooms and hang out, and then if you don't like what you see in that particular room, you just leave. So
Quietly. You leave quietly. You leave
one of the
politely.
brilliant things that they have is once you're in a room, there's a leave quietly button. So you might pop into a room and who knows what's going on, some crazy stuff, and you're like, this is not for me. Or you may decide to pop into a room for 10 minutes, and then you have something to do, so you just leave.
Right.
And that's the culture of the app. No one ever says like, why did you leave my room? It's not like that. you're
Right.
you're there, you leave, you go back in. people know that this is something that people do in between other things or while they're doing other things. Like sometimes I'll go into a room while I'm cooking and then like so I don't burn stuff, I have to like
Right,
leave, right?
right. That's the one thing about my Facebook group is, or any Facebook group, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna tell you why. And it's like, oh my God, do not announce your departure. Just go.
Right. And the rooms are set up with moderators, so the moderators kind of may move people in and out, in and off the stage. So when you go into a room, it's set up with the people on stage. Those are the people that can unmute their mics and speak. And then below that are the people that are followed by the people on stage. And then below that are everyone else in the room.
Just randos.
Yeah, and I mean, they may just have an interest in the topic. You know, if it's a really large room, you're going to see a lot of people in that below category that aren't being other people category. Like the other night Elon Musk was on, right? And he maxed out his room. I'm sure there were a lot of people that weren't being followed by Elon Musk and the, you know, three other people that he's friends with on Clubhouse.
So I don't even know who that is.
Oh, he's the creator of the automobile Tesla.
Oh, I thought it was a singer. I don't know who I'm thinking of. Anyway, I'm like, isn't that the guy that sings like the blues? I don't know, whatever. I don't know anything.
No, he's one of the
Okay,
most wealthy people on earth. So,
gotcha. Okay, well, alrighty then.
and he designs nice cars.
Yes. So I know my son, I do know Tesla because my son talks about that kind of thing. So I went through, and it's funny because you click on, oh, I know this person, and you click follow, and then all of a sudden the next 400 people were like people I know from photographers on Facebook, whatever. I'm like, okay, I know Tracy Joy, click. I know so and so, click, 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 click. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I went from like following one person to following, I don't even know, 400.
Yes, and that's
Oh
actually
no, I'm
good.
sorry, not 400, 28. I followed 28 people. It felt like 100 because I was like, or follow, 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 follow.
But that's actually good to do when you first join the app because that curates your rooms. So you'll see various rooms in the hallway based on who you follow. Because it's not going to show you a room in a whole nother building with nobody that you know. It's going to show you a room that has people that you know in it first. That'll be the priority. Or it'll show you if you join a club. So the hierarchy is clubs, and then underneath the club is a room. So there are people that have started clubs that have, you know, multiple different rooms going at the same time. Like there's one club, Women in Business, and they always have like 5 or 10 rooms going at one time because it's a really big club.
Oh my God, this like makes my brain hurt. Because even when I was making my account, do I make it Kirsten Spencer or Kirsten Spencer Photography or Sleeping on the Job podcast? Or like I didn't even know, and I ended up just using my name because I figured I can
Yeah,
me as a person can.
most people just use their name. One of my friends went on and used his business name, and then he was like, "No, that's not working for me." So he changed it to back to his name. I think you can only change it like one time, so I I would just use your name. I was psyched because I never get my name on social media because I have such a common name, Sarah Thompson. I never get my name, but I got my name on Clubhouse. So my at Clubhouse is at Sarah Thompson.
Because I'm at Kirsten Spencer, which was also exciting. But like when you're typing in or voice texting or whatever, it changes it to Kristen Spencer all the time.
Uh,
So people on Google, if they're looking for Kirsten Spencer, even if they type in Kirsten Spencer, it shows results for Kristen Spencer. Because
uh,
who's named Kirsten? Nobody, right?
right.
So it changes it to Kristen Spencer, but there is a Kristen Spencer photography, and we have very similar styles,
Ah,
which is kind of annoying because people would, message her,
yep.
will you shoot on location? I'm in Massachusetts or I'm in, Orange, Massachusetts, whatever. And she's like, okay, I'm in Ohio, but whatever. And I tried to reach out to her thinking, oh my God, this is hysterical. Let's get to know each other so I can send your people to you and you can
Yep.
send my people back to me. And she was kind of like, I'm all set with that. she wasn't
Like,
into
I don't
being,
want to know you.
no, she didn't. I thought it was hysterical, but I guess it's not that hysterical or whatever. Because like a bunch of my people were like, oh my God, I don't know what you did to your website. It's beautiful. I love the new color scheme. And I was like, I
What?
haven't updated my website in like
What?
10 years.
So Clubhouse.
Yeah,
So why do people want to be on Clubhouse? You
I'm
know,
still figuring that out.
right. It's just another social media app, and it's another thing you have to do. I think part of the success of Clubhouse and why it's grown so much in such a short time is because we're in the middle of a global pandemic.
Yes,
So people are at home, not having as many conversations with actual living, breathing people, and they're bored. So a
yes.
lot of the people on Clubhouse, there's a lot of, actors and actresses and famous musicians and all kinds of people that are pretty well-known celebrities that are on there because it's an outlet for creativity and for connecting with people.
Webster.
Yeah, like I was in a room with Emmanuel Lewis, Webster, if for anyone our age that might know. That I mean, there's all kinds of musicians that are on there. Some that I don't even know who they are, but they have a huge following.
That's very,
And
very exciting.
so so I think that is the draw, is that it's an audio conversation with an actual person or people. And the other thing I think that helps it is that there's no video. So like yeah, like we're on audio only right now, and
We're both like, thank God.
yeah, we're like, oh yeah, I don't have to change out of my pajamas. You could
I
be
haven't since March, so that
right,
it bodes well for
exactly.
me.
So you can be like in your pajamas and you could be doing other things. You mute yourself. So if, you're like in my case, if my kid's screaming in the background, I just mute myself. And you can be listening. I think of it as like an interactive podcast. That's what it's like to me. It's like, okay, so you have a podcast like we have right now, but imagine as people listening right now, if you could hop up on stage for a minute and ask a question and get it answered in real time.
See, I would love that, but that's the one thing about Clubhouse that was a little bit annoying to me, and I say that with love, but I was in Summerana or Tracy Joy's, Summerana's Tog Talk Tuesday this morning. It looks like it's still going on. If I'm like, they've been talking for like an hour or 2, whatever. And they were talking about like, "What's in your camera bag?" And it was hard for me, but there was so many people in the room, like 100 people in the room, let's just say, and I wanted to chime in, "Oh, if you like this lens, you're gonna love this lens," or whatever, and it was hard for me just to like, well, I don't wanna interrupt, but I wanted to talk, just being a talker,
Yep.
and I didn't wanna interrupt, so I just kinda sat there and listening, but I always wanna interrupt, I guess.
Yes. So some rooms they make you first of all, some rooms won't even let you on stage. Those rooms I'm like, I'm out. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm there to talk to people and listen, but not just listen. So
Right.
if the moderators of the room won't let people on stage, and I understand if they're like mid thought and I raise my hand, it takes a couple minutes, no big deal. But if they just won't let people on stage or they've turned the hand raising off, I usually just leave the room because that's not interesting to me. But
See, I did the opposite thing. I did a room last night and opened it to photographers to talk about this topic, whatever. And every single person that popped in the room, I immediately brought them on stage. Like,
yeah, exactly. And
if you
so
want to talk, I would rather all talk and
yeah,
contribute and have a conversation. It was much more fun to me than to sit there talking and people like, are you listening? Are you not listening? Are you
exactly. And
cooking
the
dinner? Do
rooms
you care?
that are really structured, that are like one by one, people can talk. I don't find that as interesting because it's not a conversation among people where you can jump in to respond to something somebody says, right? So
Right.
it's like, yes, I understand why it's done because of the sort of order that they want to keep, but I find it super boring. So I just leave. I'm not going to sit in a room for an hour to wait to say my one thing for half a minute.
Right.
It's
Okay.
not
So
my
I'm
type of
looking.
room. And so I
No.
look for smaller rooms because of that, because the larger rooms tend to have more structure, or else people are just talking over each other, which also drives me crazy.
I don't like that either, but I do like a nice laid back conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's what I look for. That's what I create in my own rooms. Different people, like different things. So you'll find there's so many types of rooms that you'll find ones that you like and The ones that you don't like, again, leave quietly. I just leave and go look for something else.
Right.
Sometimes it's timing of like when you get in a room. Like I have a lot of people in the online business marketing world that I'm friends with. And so sometimes I'll go into their room and whoever's talking is like doing like a long ass pitch and I'm like, this is so boring. Out. Like I'm not gonna like I've heard it all in 11 years of business that it's not beneficial for me to like listen to somebody's pitch. It,
Right.
you know, if I need a certain service, I already know people. I'm gonna go to those people. I'm not gonna, you know, follow somebody on Clubhouse and be like, oh, I'm gonna buy your thing when I've known them for 1 minute.
Right.
So it's boring to me. So if somebody's telling a story, like I was on the other day was Holocaust Survivors Day,
Yes. Yes.
you know, worldwide Holocaust Remembrance Day. And I was on, and somebody had a Holocaust survivor on.
Wow.
And he was obviously an older guy. They were in New York. He didn't know how to use Clubhouse at all. So it was a younger guy with his phone, and they were both talking, you know, on the same microphone, and people were able to ask questions of him about his experience and what his life had been like since and all of that. So it was fascinating. And you know, I didn't even ask a question. I didn't feel the need to. I was just listening to his responses to other people's questions, and it was mind-blowing, right? Like made
Yeah.
me recognize, okay, well, we're losing this whole generation, and particularly with the pandemic we're losing this whole generation of wisdom, knowledge, experience.
Right.
So it was amazing.
That
So
is amazing.
sometimes
And I
you'll
actually want
go
to,
across a room like that and you'll be like, oh, I didn't know I needed to know this, but today I need to hear from a Holocaust survivor.
right. Yeah. See, I think I need to poke around more or broaden my horizons a little bit. I don't need to just photography, photography, photography. I literally do photography. I live and breathe photography, so it's kind of nice. Like, yeah, maybe I do need to do I don't know, just different topics to
Yes, exactly. Like I
fill my fill my cup.
there's one club that I'm in, and the person who runs it like plays a ukulele in the background while he talks, and it's like people are they're very no, there's a lot of actresses and actors in there and musicians, and it's much the conversation is much more creative than my day-to-day life, right? So I find it interesting sometimes to, or like sometimes I'll listen to people that are doing um you know, musical jams. There's rooms where, I mean, you could go, Kirsten, and what instruments do you play? You play like four instruments, right? Or
Well, I only remember remotely, like, middle school level, the trumpet and the baritone.
oh, okay. So like what about your kids?
My son can play almost every instrument, and my daughter, um, clarinet, trumpet, baritone, bass,
So like your
clarinet.
son could go into like one of these musical jam rooms and play the saxophone, for
Yes.
example.
Yes.
And you know, it's cool because there are other musicians that play other instruments, or they're singers or whatever, and it's like a hangout jam session with people all around the world.
I love that. I love that. One cool thing about the room that I had last night, granted, there was never more than, like, 4 or 5 people in it for an hour and a half, but like you said, not that I pitch anything, but we were, just talking about something, and she's like, "Oh, what's your podcast?" Well, it turns out that, her and her brother sign, and I'm an interpreter, and her and her brother sign, so it's like, "Oh my god, that's funny," haha, whatever. Just some random person I brought up on stage, and, and then we just got to talking because one of the other gals I'm actually really good friends with, cyberly, not in real life, Terry Bryant. And so she was there and she's like, "Oh, do you guys know each other?" And I'm like, "Not in real life, but we've known each other online for, 6 years. And so we're
Yeah.
pretty friendly. We're very friendly. And um, and whatnot. But then it's like, oh, you have a podcast? Yeah, this is my podcast. Oh, you have a YouTube channel? Oh, yeah, I do have a YouTube channel. Oh, here it is. Blah blah blah. And so then
Exactly.
she's like, oh, I'm gonna go and follow you. Or this is my Facebook group where I teach editing, mini session inspiration and Photoshop education is my, oh, this is my Etsy store. Oh, I'm going to go check that out. So it was really, like you said, it was, I wasn't pitching and you didn't have to do that. And that's not even the whole topic of the room, but
Right.
it came
It just
up and it
comes
was
up in conversation, or people are curious to know about what you're doing. So it's an opportunity to talk to people about what you're doing and what they're doing. And sometimes you'll find things in common, other times you won't. But
right.
it's a
And
way of widening, I think, your circle and it's really like a way of networking. It's like, say, if you went to a conference, for example, and there were rooms on different topics, and you went into the rooms that you were interested in and met people.
right. And I love meeting people. For a person who hates people, I love meeting people. You know what I mean? It's so weird. It's hard being crazy. It really is because it's like I'm I'm so lonely, but like someone will look at me and I'm like, ew, you know.
Yeah, it's a way of meeting people, where you can maintain a little bit of distance, because if you're like, I don't really like that person, you just don't hang out in rooms where they are.
Can you imagine just like I'm just thinking of like the conference I went to. Like the last conference I went to pre-COVID was the off-camera flash seminar. And I'm just thinking of like talking to Tim Payne. Like I wish in real life, obviously at the seminar and just hit the button, leave quietly, and just like turn around and walk away mid-sentence.
Yeah, well, and I'm
Yeah,
sure you're
this is
seeing
boring me.
like some of the photography rooms that are like people that you know of, or they're well-known, teachers of the craft of photography, right? I mean, I'm sure you're starting to see those rooms.
Yes, a
And
lot.
some of them are probably bigger rooms because it's a well-known name person, right? And people, now's a really good time for that also, because if people are hobbyists, they're bored out of their mind. So they're, trying out new hobbies or improving on the hobbies they already have. I mean, my mom does pottery, and she has all this time now to do pottery.
Right.
She can't go anywhere.
Oh, COVID. COVID's good for some things, I suppose.
But yes, so the idea of Clubhouse is to widen your network, to connect to more like-minded people, to deepen the connections you already have. Like, I've been in rooms with people that I've known on Facebook for 5 years, but I've never spoken to them.
Right.
And hearing their voice and them hearing my voice, it creates a deeper connection than just seeing pictures and text on Facebook.
Right. Let me give away my first invite. So the first person to message me to slide into my DMs on my Sleeping on the Job Facebook page will get my first invite. If you screenshot that you've mentioned Sleeping on the Job podcast in another Facebook group, like another photography group, like you guys, you should check out Sleeping on the Job podcast. It's hilarious. Screenshot that, send the screenshot to my Sleeping on the Job podcast Facebook page in a DM, and you will get my second invite. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on Instagram, let me go into my thing. I have a Sleeping on the Job podcast Instagram page. If you message me through Instagram, you'll get my third invite. So
Nice.
I just wanted to say that real quick. Okay.
So that's another thing, is that your profile on Clubhouse allows you to link to Twitter and Instagram. So what I've seen is that if you spend some time in some rooms and people start to follow you on Clubhouse, I don't have my Instagram linked because I don't use Instagram and I don't do something that's visual like photography. But I imagine most of the listeners here do something visual and want to increase their Instagram following. One of the ways that's very easy to do it is hang out in on stage in some Clubhouse rooms, and people will follow your Instagram.
So should I haven't linked anything. So like I said, I've only been on Clubhouse like a week.
Yeah. You should
But
link
should I
your Instagram.
I have 5 Instagrams.
You should link your Instagram with the most following.
I don't know how to know that, but should I do, like, my photography? I mean, I don't care if you follow me if you live in Australia, because 'cause you're not gonna be my client, you know what I mean? And I don't care if you like my work, although I'm flattered, but it doesn't influence me one way or the other. But should I link my Sleeping on the Job podcast, for example? It doesn't have a lot of followers, but I would like more followers, and they're just photography memes for the most part, a couple little tidbits here and there. Or, like, if I have a, "Oh, Corin Violet is my next guest speaker," and I can put something on
I would
that.
link whatever Instagram you're focused on growing the most.
Okay,
You
probably
know,
this.
so if it's this, then I would focus on linking this. If
Okay,
it's the photography, the photography one for you might be mostly local people, right?
exactly. Yes, it is.
So,
Yeah.
like, they're not going to be on Clubhouse likely. Maybe a handful of them will be, but
Yeah, not in my group though. It's just parents of babies or dancers or whatever. So,
right.
okay, let's go back to the hallway for a second because I want to talk about like the legit layout of this. Okay,
Yep.
so we know that the upper right hand corner is a picture of my face,
Yes.
my headshot that my daughter just took of me, and I click on that, add Instagram, add Twitter. I can see that how many people my bio just says I'm too old to understand any of this, but that's going to change once I know things,
Right.
hopefully. So if I click on the gear, that's where you can turn off trending rooms,
Yes.
add interests or take away interests.
Well, and another very important thing is you can pause notifications.
Yes, I see that.
So when I first joined and I was like on, checking it out and in a lot of rooms, I was like, had notifications on, and I would get notifications like in the middle of the night. So if you're really active, you're going to want to turn off notifications so you can actually sleep.
And that's the hard part with me because I help people edit in my mini session inspiration group. I help people edit using their pictures because you don't want me to teach you how to edit using my flawless, you know, pictures
Right.
that I've taken with a $6,000 setup, right? I want to take your picture, whatever you took it on, and give you advice on how to edit your picture. So that's what I've been doing. But people live all over the world, and my phone dings
Yeah.
constantly. But I don't want to shut people are like, leave your phone in the kitchen. It's like, you know what? I have 2 driving teenagers and 2 over 70 parents. I'm
Yeah.
not my phone is in my hand or nearby 24/7. So it's kind of hard because like Facebook Messenger dings like a text,
Yeah, I know. I
you
have
know.
I have all notifications off except for text and phone
R-
because anyone that needs me, that, if it's my mother or my kid, they
Yeah.
know to text me.
Yes. Okay, so back to this. So that's the upper left-hand corner. So in
Oh, and
the
by the way, in there, it'll tell you what the latest release notes are under what's new in the settings.
Oh, I never clicked on that before.
Yeah, the FAQ contact us is frequently asked questions like, how do you start a club? It tells you what to do. Community guidelines are the rules. And then you can, connect um, Twitter and Instagram, or disconnect if you choose not
Yeah.
to.
Okay. So
All right.
let me go back into my hallway.
Yep.
So that's the upper
Right. Yep.
right-hand
The upper
corner.
right.
So the lower right-hand corner are black dots with a green circle.
Yes.
I'm going to click on that. So those are people available to chat. So would that bring them, which is you and my friend Terry, would that bring them into a room so we could talk?
Yeah. If you want to, you could start a room with them, but underneath their thing, their name, it will say what room they're in. So what I use that for is, um, I don't use my hallway that much because it's filled with a bunch of stuff I don't care about. I actually care more about the people that I'm friends with on here. So
Okay.
I'll look through my list and see where my friends are, because the only people that show and available to chat are people that follow me and I follow them. So like my friend
Oh.
Mike right now is in a room, something about anxiety management. It's
What
how
if you're in a room about like anal sex or some kind of really weird shit that maybe you don't want everyone to know about?
Yeah, there's no way of doing that. One time I One time I was like, the first week or two that I was on the app, like sometimes I'll have the app open and I'll go into a room by accident because I just hit my phone, right?
Right?
And one time I was like, I put my phone down and I think I like took a hour long nap because I was exhausted. I don't know. I forget what time of day it was midday. And I put my phone down and then I got up from my nap and I was like, "Oh, I'm in a Clubhouse room." And it was something about a porn star.
Oh my god. So anyone who clicks on the green dots or the black dots or the green thing, it's like, "Sarah's in a room."
A porn star room.
Right.
And I'm like, I
How to
didn't
pole
hear
dance.
any of it. I was sleeping. Like literally.
I would have screenshot it and
I was just like, "Oops." Hope no one was looking for me then.
but now your Facebook timeline is gonna be all porn shit because
Exactly, because
which
listening
I
to
wonder. So my daughter came into the kitchen, right? And my phone was on the counter, not connected to anything. And my daughter walks in the kitchen. I was like probably cooking dinner or whatever. And she's like, "What are love languages?" And I said,
yeah,
"Oh, it's a popular, book theory,
right. Yep,
whatever. There's five love languages about how you like to give and receive love. I like words of affirmation. I like physical touch.
yeah, those are my 2 top
Yeah.
2.
I don't like X, Y, and Z. And
Right.
like I love like well, I was gonna tell a story, but maybe I shouldn't. But I remember like growing up being like I'm 10 or whatever, sitting at the dinner table over, and my dad would just kind of like go with my mom's boobs, and he's like, "Oh, they're crooked. I was just fixing them," whatever. And my brother and I being like, "Dad." But ever since then, like when I was married back in the olden days or whatever, like he would always come up behind me and like just grab my butt in his hands, just full like squeeze, 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 and just playfully always kind of pawing at each other, and I just love that. Well, my best friend at the time, her husband, that obviously was his love language, and it doesn't mean I want to go bone you, whatever. It doesn't mean anything. It's
Right.
just I love touching your body. I love you. I love your body. I love being connected to you and touch, touch, touch. And she fucking hated it. And she would like, every time he touched her, she would like freak out and it would start a fight. Like, don't touch me, back away, get away from me, whatever. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, I would love my husband to touch me that much.
Mhm.
And he did when we were married. But anyway,
So then what you're gonna say is that she was talking
what
about it, and then it came up on your Facebook ads?
sure as shit, my daughter and I, like an hour later, it must have been dinner. We ate dinner. We sat down. We were gonna like, let's watch an episode of The West Wing. And my daughter just
Mhm.
happened to look down at
Yep.
Facebook, whatever, and love language, love language,
Yep.
purchase this, do this, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I've never heard of it, seen it, discussed it, nothing. And then we have that one conversation, and now it's like literally saturated
Yes.
in her timeline. But here's the thing, I talk about, like, I'll on purpose talk about, like, gosh, I really wonder what sex swing would be the best for someone that would only swing with like maybe me and my cats. You know what I mean? Or like,
Yeah.
or whatever. And I'll talk about things on purpose, but yet no sex swings come up in my conversation
Well,
at all.
certain items are forbidden on Facebook ad retargeting. So,
Oh,
like, when I was running more personal financial classes, um, financial advice is one of the things. Certain things, weight loss products are highly restricted on Facebook. So
got
there's
it.
certain things that you'll never see a Facebook ad for. But you could talk about a hammer, for example, and you're gonna see uh, a bunch of tools and you're right. Like you could something that isn't forbidden, you would on Facebook, you would see they have it down. I don't know. I mean, just know that if you're on a social media platform,
They're
that
listening.
your data is what how they make money.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
they're making money from your profile, from your data.
Well,
No
they most
different than
certainly,
Clubhouse, right? I mean, they're they are not selling ads on Clubhouse as of yet. There's no monetization of anything, but the valuation that they're getting is like $1 billion
right.
for an app that's only been around 6 months. So obviously there's money in the data.
Yes.
So for us to use these social media platforms for free, we just need to be aware that we are the product. Our
Yeah.
data is
Well,
the product.
there's a photographer, a male over the age of whatever, 60, male photographer in town, and some kids I know got their senior pictures done for him, and I'm like, "How much does he charge?" Just, like, curious, because it's very pinup style, but risque, like, very inappropriately dressed,
Hmm.
the vibe is very
Sexual.
soft porn, very sexual, and they're like, "Oh, he didn't charge us, he just did it for free." I'm like, "Okay, no one does anything for free. They just don't. No one does anything for free. He is making money off of those pictures, maybe not from you, but he's selling them to someone, or he's just, probably whacking off to them
He's
himself.
getting something out of it.
He's getting something out of it. No one just does things straight up with no ulterior motive. I love editing pictures and teaching people Photoshop and using their pictures to learn how to edit and whatever. But my
Exactly.
ulterior motive is I'm hoping to monetize my channel
Right. Exactly.
eventually.
So for example, I actually just took a class about free challenges, and I'm going to be running a free challenge the first week of March for people that want to quit their jobs and start a business that supports them. Right? That's not the name of it, but that's the
That's the
general gist.
Yeah.
And you know, the purpose of the free challenge is to help people, and it's free. But as a result of that, there will be people that will buy a program from me. A 12-month support program. And so, a lot of people give away free things in exchange for something, your email address, whatever. And it's not because they're, so super giving. Yes, it's great that they're doing something for free, and they are giving by doing that. But their hope is that they get a few of those people will buy something from them.
Yes. Well, let me just remind people because I feel like there used to be a whole, rigmarole that I said on every podcast, and I feel like I haven't said it in months. But if you go to patreon.com, Patreon, patreon.com/ sleeping on the job podcast, you can actually pay a couple dollars to get early access to the podcast before it opens to the general public. Okay. So it's 4 days. I release on Thursday. It's open to the public on Sunday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? 4 days. So every podcast, 90% of the podcasts, I ask all my vendor friends for coupons, and then they're one code for one person, right? So if you subscribe and pay a couple bucks to the podcast, to me, which pays my podcast bills because podcasts are not free to run, um, then you get a fighting chance to win. Usually Beth Wiggins wins everything because she knows as soon as her phone goes ding, there's a new Sleeping on the Job podcast. She listens to it as fast as she can and she'll get the code and then she'll use it. Um, and so that's a perk. But part of that, or there's different tiers of memberships, right? Of donations. You can donate $1. I think my mom donates $1 a month. It's like, thanks, Mimi. But one of the tiers was you can send me an image and I'll teach you how to edit it. So then you can apply that knowledge to every picture that you want to edit. But then it came down to people, and I don't know, I'm just a pushover, I guess. But what happened was people would be like, "Well, I don't want to pay $10. I want you just to do it for free." And I was like, "Well, all right, because how am I going to get content for my YouTube channel if people are, you know what I mean, people don't want to pay me to learn from me." So I end up just like, "All right, I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free." Um, Eventually I'm going to have to tighten my, as soon as I'm monetized, maybe I'll just kind of tighten my bootstraps and be like, you need to be a member of my brain to have
Of my
access to my
brain.
to
You
have
have to
access
live
to my
inside my
brain.
brain in order to get this.
You don't want to be inside my brain. Let me tell you what.
I was like, no, no, let
Run
me out of there.
screaming. Yes. It's awful inside there. But I've been a photographer for 27 years. I know things and I love teaching for free, but there's going to come a time where, like, even now a little bit, I'm a little overwhelmed and it's hard to keep up sometimes. It's hard to keep up. And it would just be really nice. Like every once in a while, someone will Venmo me like a couple bucks and be like, go get a coffee. Thank you. This was great. Whatever. And it's nice. But the
Oh, and
perk
by
to
the way, on Clubhouse, sometimes some people do put their Cash App or their Venmo.
I was just thinking that because a lot of my musician friends that'll go and do a Facebook Live every once in a while, they have their Venmo tip jar, virtual tip jar pinned to the top. And I always will give $5 if I'm going to listen to Dar Williams or Bruce Jakes or people that I like to listen to while I edit. I always donate a few dollars because it's like I see the value in what they're doing. I love their music. I love that they're playing for 2 hours for people quarantined home. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I do
Exactly.
this and I expect nothing and I get nothing. So maybe I need to just change my tune a little bit. But if you go through Patreon, there's other perks other than learning how to edit. It's just, it's supporting my podcast if you learn things from it, like all of this Clubhouse talk, or just want to just toss a couple bucks because hey, I learned stuff. Your Facebook group is awesome, whatever. It would be nice, and maybe I'll push that a little harder. But that being said, I definitely, I couldn't be my own client because this is always a slow time for me anyway. January, February, March is usually slow anyway. And then with COVID and with parents in their 70s and with, kids at home and whatever, I'm home 24/7. And, I was telling my kids, like, we need to chill out a little bit on, like, we can't buy candles anymore. That's a luxury item. We need to chill for a little bit. I have something on the back burner. I'm trying to get started or trying to get off the ground, and I'm having just the hardest time doing that. If I can get my next great idea off the ground, then maybe things will be better. But like right now, I got like March's bills money in the bank, and beyond that, not quite sure yet.
Right, exactly. I
A
think
lot
a
of
lot
people
of
are struggling, but if someone asked me for $5 a month, I don't know if I could give it either. So I totally understand, and I don't limit and I don't say no. So if you want help with a picture, I jump full on and help you, and I don't hold back anything. A lot of people, I feel like, you want a little taste and then they hold back some things until you
exactly. Yeah.
give the money.
It totally depends also on somebody's individual circumstances, right?
Totally.
Like I have a friend who has 7 kids. Like she doesn't have any time. Like, are you
Yeah,
kidding me? I can barely manage one.
right. Yeah, I
So,
definitely can
it
barely
just
manage
depends
2.
on what you have going on, and you might find that people are more helpful right now because they do have more time because not as much stuff is open and not as much things are going on.
Well, my mentality is I wanna be the person I wish I had when I got started.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It took me
Exactly.
25 years to know what I know, but then when Katie learned how to use her camera, my 16-year-old daughter, she sat down, she logged into Photoshop, and she's like, "I wanna learn it all right now." And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Well, you don't learn Photoshop in an hour, you learn it over 20 years." And she's like, "No, I wanna learn it all now." And I feel like, holy crap, like, literally she did. We did a photo shoot the other day with a couple of her girlfriends, and she edited every single picture
Awesome.
in Photoshop all by herself.
Well, and you think about it, if you're able to teach a 16-year-old,
No, I taught an 11-year-old.
yeah, I mean,
I taught an
then that means
11-year-old.
you can teach anybody. So
I
that can be
yeah,
a stream of revenue, right? Where you're teaching people. A lot of people right now are taking up learning new things. Like
yes,
I'm
yes.
in a group with a woman who teaches Japanese, for example. And like she's getting inquiries all over the place for people that want to learn Japanese or their kids want to learn Japanese. Like people are doing things that they quote unquote never had time for before. So learning a new software like Photoshop is one of those things.
Well, I'm gonna start doing that because I do that, like, literally 24. I have, like, 207 tutorials on my YouTube channel, which is Kirsten PG1, Kirsten PG1, Kirsten PG1 on YouTube. I have 207, 208 'cause I posted one this morning, 208 tutorials, and they're all amazing, I think, like, stuff that, like, "Oh, I wish I knew this." And I try to keep them super short because I hate long, boring tutorials where people like on Pinterest, if it doesn't have skip to recipe, I skip the whole fucking thing because I don't want to hear I grew up on my grandmother's farm
Right,
and whatever. It's
exactly.
like, tell
Exactly.
me how long to cook my fucking pot roast in my Dutch oven,
Exactly. It's
which
like
is what
I
I'm
have no time for this. But, anyone who's listening now that wants to learn Photoshop, right? They could send you
yes.
a message and then maybe 3 people want to and then you have a class.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna put a pin in that because I'm gonna do it. Let's go back to my hallway. Okay, so the open envelope at the top, the dead center top, is a open envelope with a letter peeking out with a
Yeah,
sparkle on it, right? So I click on that, and it
that's the
says
invites that you have. So, like, I have one invite to give out right now.
I have 5. Okay, but then there's a long list of people to invite, but
Yes.
it's literally like my dog that just passed away. It's his internal medicine, like
It's
that.
literally anyone whose phone number is in your phone. That's who shows up.
Oh, all right,
So,
because
like,
I'm
my
like,
plastic surgeon shows up. My my
literally
oncologist shows up.
the textile company to the Simple Swaddler is like number 2, and I was like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what?
It's just that
The
it
college I work
connected.
at,
It's connected to the to their cell phone number, whatever their cell phone number is.
Alex from Castle Rock.
Yeah, so I mean,
Okay, all right,
random people. So that's why when you send the invite, you need the person to send you their phone number, then
their
they'll
phone
pop
number.
up on the list.
Got it. Okay, because I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" But that makes more sense now. It's trying to target friends or whatnot.
Yeah, by
Okay,
their phone number, by their cell phone number. So
okay,
if it's in your list of contacts, then it'll pop up. If
got
not,
it. That makes my I'm like, "Do I invite Cosmos Vet?" I mean, they were lovely helping me through the process, but I don't
yeah,
think they
no.
wanna join me on Clubhouse. Okay, so the second one looks like a little calendar
Yep.
or maybe a calculator.
No, it's supposed to be a calendar.
I know. So, upcoming for you. So let's see what they recommend for me. Ask a career coach, "How do I
Right.
map out my
Yeah,
ideal role?"
that's on mine too. At 1 o'clock. So it's already started. So I
Oh,
think they show everything that started within the last hour.
yeah, there's a photographer, coffee chat. Oh,
Right.
talk nerdy to me. I
Yeah,
just
that
didn't
one's good. I
I
like her, the woman who runs she has a club, Talk Nerdy to me. It's funny.
okay, so I like that. So mine are now it's like almost all photography at this point. Embracing what makes you unique. Nah.
Right. Like there's one I see here that's expanding photography income within the fashion industry.
There's one called meme marketing.
Yeah, that would be fun. Like
Well,
there's some random ones that actually turn out to be quite fun because they're just people like us that are completely irreverent and just like to have fun.
right.
And so, like, I don't do all business ones. Sometimes the business ones are boring. Like the
I
one,
say all the times, if I could make money sharing memes, I would quit everything.
yeah. So like that guy Vincenzo Landino, I used to follow him years ago on an app called Blab. So he actually his wife has a really successful YouTube channel.
Damn. Okay.
So,
So if you
that
click
could be
on
interesting. Whatever. I mean, like, there's one in mine. Independent artists connect, play music and network. That's cool. There's people on here talking about real estate. I have zero interest in real estate.
oh
I
yeah.
own a
Nope.
house. I'm not moving for at least 10 years, and
Yep. Same here.
I never want to be like a landlord and invest in rental property. I have
No,
no.
my brother has told me enough horror stories where I'm like, I'm all set with that. And he has a someone that manages it for him, so he's
Yeah,
like even one level removed from the nonsense, and I'm still like, no.
yeah, no.
So in all these groups, if you click on the bell to the right, it says,
It basically will give you an alert. So if you're
okay,
going through your calendar and you're like, "Ooh, that I want to join that group at 4 o'clock," you press on the bell and it shows up in your
in your calendar.
notification.
Okay. So I'm gonna go back now. So then the bell is just activity. Colleen followed you. Clubhouse says you have 3 new invites.
Right.
Annie, Samantha, Teresa, Carolyn, Jennifer, Terry Bryant, Tracy Joy. Okay, so cool. So that just shows, who's following me and all 38 people that follow me. Okay. And so then down here it just says start a room. I like that you can start a room for the future, not like start a room and then jump in immediately.
Yes.
Um,
You can schedule a room.
you can schedule a room and share it on all your social media. So like, hey, meet me here at
Exactly.
2 o'clock, whatever. So that's fancy. So I think that's like most of the ins and outs.
Yep. Totally.
I think we covered all the things that you can just see. I'm a huge fan of just poke around, push all the buttons, like people all the time. How do I change this? How do I change the power of my light and whatever? Like there's two huge arrows like up and down. Push the arrows, see what happens, you know? Of course, that's why I break stuff too, because I push the buttons before I know what they do. But anyway, um, so I think we covered everything. I
Yeah,
told
I
you
mean,
how
the
to,
best thing is just jump in there, do it, check it out, hang out for a minute, and see if you like it. Some people don't like it at all, and other people are. I see them in rooms for 5 or 6 hours, and you know, and I'm like, don't you ever sleep?
I'm to be honest with you, I'm still undecided. The conversation I had with a couple of my friends yesterday was fun, but then it's one more time suck where I'm on Clubhouse telling all these stories and I'm like, I have a sink filled with dishes. You know,
Exactly. So,
you
when I first started using it, I was on a lot more than I am now. Now I'm much more deliberate about like, okay, I'm going to do this for 1 hour and then I'm
yes. Yeah. That's a good thing. Set limits and
yes,
then go from there.
have
Um,
some boundaries. Otherwise, yeah, I mean,
yeah, I
and
mean
if you
I'll
have,
be on
if
yeah,
you
I'll be
have
making YouTube tutorials all day long, get
right,
nothing
if
done.
you have a trust fund and you're just bored and you don't have to worry about like paying your bills or washing dishes or feeding
Yeah.
kids or anything, then just sit on Clubhouse all the time. That's fine.
y- Yeah, knock yourself out. And watch all my YouTube videos.
Yeah. But for those of us who have other things to do, I recommend checking it out, see if it can help you, see if you're learning things or if you're gaining followers or clients, and be very purposeful about it. So if you have a room like Kirsten, like you hosted that room, you know, mention to people, hey, follow me on Instagram, and then pin to Instagram your YouTube video channel,
Yes.
right? And say, go follow me on Instagram. The first post is pinned, and that tells you how to watch this video, right?
Yes.
So be purposeful with your time that you spend there. You can actually monetize what you're doing there if you um, move people off Clubhouse to follow you in other places.
Yes. So I just realized this is literally the story of my life. I just realized my daughter has a um, doctor's appointment in 40 minutes,
Yes.
and I'm in my pajamas, so fucking
So
ugly.
maybe change out of your pajamas. And if anyone wants, they can follow your podcast, right? And are you going to put in the show notes
Yes.
something
Your
about how they can follow us? They could they can follow us on Clubhouse if they're already there. They can follow me. Mostly, I'm on Facebook. That's my main platform.
so you're gonna send me all of your links
Yep.
and pages, and then I put them in the show notes
Yeah, I have some
and on
kind
my
of
Facebook
disaster
page.
going on at my house too. So I gotta
Yes.
jump. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. I love you. Thank you for doing this, and I will see you probably online in 4 seconds.
Okay, bye.
Bye.